Hello, and welcome to the second installment of the Untitled Podcasters, named tentatively could be changed later on. I am one of your hosts, Andrew. Alongside me will be my other hosts. Want to introduce themselves?
Well, I'm Steve.
And I'm Colby.
And today we are going to be talking about films, and probably get off topic a lot, but the main subject of it is going to be films. Ideally, our top 10 films, things we like about movies, get into some varieties, just ways of getting to know our feel for them.
Like you were saying before we started recording, essentially, or whatever, is that I feel like I have an objectively changing, evolving top 10 list. I guess it's just more of a sense of like some of our favorite movies, so that people get an idea of like what tastes are.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. Yeah.
I don't think I don't know if I have like a number one movie of all time, but I definitely have like a handful of movies that I just go to if I need something like that.
There's like certain movies that are like if I'm clicking through the channels and I see them on, then I will, if it's on, I will put it on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know, like, I go through phases for sure. Like, I'll see a movie and I'll be like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. Best movie I've ever seen. And then, like, 3 weeks later, I'll go see another movie and I'm like, all right, my mind's changed.
Yeah.
I go through phases. Every time I see a movie, I feel like it's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
And then you think about it more and you're like, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, it was good, but I don't know. Now that I'm 3 weeks removed, it wouldn't even crack top 10.
Yeah.
Right, I
I'd
know.
definitely do that.
I think that's like recency bias too. It's probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's like. Oh, I definitely know we all suffer from that.
Well, I being sick the last like couple days of just like being lazy and sitting around, I went to the well of watching the entire Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy set.
God, that's like 15 hours of your life.
Yeah, and I built Rivendell at the same time.
Oh, nice.
So it was like I always pair things like that. Like when I built the Lego Hogwarts set, I watched like the first 3 or 4 Harry Potter movies while I did it.
That's what I do.
I don't know if you guys do it that way.
I don't, but there's a girl who does that on TikTok right now, and she's got like a huge following from that. Like, I think it started off with her getting, I can't remember which one it was, but since then, like, she'll go to the store, she'll buy a set, and then she'll just have the movies on in the background while she does like a speed time lapse build of it.
Yeah,
I do that a lot with my sets. Like recently, I did that with Hocus Pocus. I got Hocus Pocus and I watched the movie. Whenever I mainly buy Star Wars, so whenever I'm buying Star Wars, I have to watch something.
But I know
with Hocus sets and then watch the show while I built them.
I know, Colby, you're the tentative like Star Wars expert. Which movie do you go to as like your number one?
Last Jedi probably my favorite.
Okay.
Either that, or Rise of Skywalker, or Solo, probably in that order. No, I don't.
Those are 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I don't.
I really thought you'd have. I thought you'd have Phantom Menace on that list.
I mean, truth be told, Empire Strikes Back is great, one of the best. I'm a prequel boy. I like Revenge of the Sith a lot. I think
it's hard to go wrong there.
I think the Clone Wars show has also really strengthened my love for the prequels. But when it comes to Star Wars, I'm a show guy. I'll watch the shows probably before I watch the movies. Like I've rewatched Clone Wars start to finish like 43 times. I'm going through it right now.
Nice.
Rebels is pretty good. So you watch one of the animated shows usually.
Yeah. I would say for me and you, I don't know necessarily for you, Andrew, the Star Wars property as a whole would be on like a top 10 for sure.
I think that is my number one. If I had to pick a franchise, for sure, I think I don't even think I can think of a second one that's even close. My life is consumed by Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm not as big into Star Wars as you guys are. I think, and so I hadn't seen any Star Wars until Disney Plus became a thing.
They were easy to watch.
Yeah, so then I had a reason to watch them all. Prior to it, it just like it was something I think I wanted to watch, but they never put them on TV, or at least if they did, I wasn't looking in the right areas. And my dad still hasn't seen any of them, and he says that he thinks he's the only person in the world who's never seen them. And I think that's like something he like takes secret pride in. But like, so I watched them all relatively at the same time, so there was no like nostalgia for me when the new movies came out. Like I haven't been a fan of the franchise when a new movie has come out at all. Just the Disney Plus shows. So from what I've seen, I think Rogue One is honestly my favorite Star Wars movie.
Rogue One is a really good one.
I really like that one. It was just so dark. I loved it. I love dark stuff like that.
I like that it was like all like new characters.
Yeah, right. So from there was that. So I don't know if I would put Star Wars on my top 10, but I could make the argument for Rogue One being close to it.
I will say, if Rogue One is your favorite Star Wars movie out of all of them, it's or from Rogue One, but it's also it's like just as dark and serious toned as Rogue One was.
Interesting.
So
yeah,
it's not like a goofy adventure.
I have like hardly any time on my hands, but like Star Wars shows are on my list of things when I do finally get time.
Well, by the time you get time, there's going to be about 70 of them.
Right. So again, no nostalgia there.
They're just pumping them out.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on it, I mean, I definitely think Rogue One's a great one, but we're coming up on the finale of Ahsoka. I know Andrew hasn't watched any of it, I would assume.
Correct.
But I'm sure Colby has theories and ideas of what's happening next.
Oh yeah, I've got.
You guys feel free to talk about that without ruining anything for me. Like I that doesn't bother me.
What's coming next? Because I don't know the lore of Ahsoka and Thrawn as much as you probably do.
All right. Well, so aside from Rebels, this is the only time we've ever seen Thrawn. Outside of books and comics and stuff.
Also,
so that's a pretty big deal about.
I didn't mean to interrupt that. I also didn't know that Thrawn is Mad Mikkelsen's brother.
Yeah, it's Lars Mikkelsen. It's the same guy who voiced him in Rebels.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Which was pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they got him back. The reason he was so good was just his voice is just intimidating.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I think they kind of fought for him to be live action Thrawn, which totally for it. I saw a bunch of people on some Reddit forums and stuff talking about how he had like a dad bod and how Thrawn didn't look like he was jacked or whatever. Who cares? Yeah. I mean, leave the guy alone. He's been stranded for like 10 years, 15 years. He's probably just been chilling on his Star Destroyer.
It's not like Palpatine was jacked. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, it's so... Well, I know he was jacked in Rebels, but again, that was like 20 years prior.
Oh, gotcha.
2 decades have passed. I don't know that he's still working out actively in a different universe.
I don't think so.
But so next week's finale, I saw something online which I'm pretty sure is accurate. It's supposed to be like 40 minutes long, 42 minute long before credits. So it's not a ton of time.
That's an important distinction with Disney Plus.
They have a lot to. I know they're not going to wrap up everything. They're going to continue it. There's rumors of a possible season 2, assuming the viewership of this season was good, which it has been. And we have Mandalorian season 4, and there's a Mandalorian movie coming out in 2026, I believe. So they're definitely going to end it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming they have to have Thrawn win. The good guys cannot defeat the bad guys at the end of this show, especially not if they're doing a movie, a season 2, and Mandalorian season 4 could tie into it. So Thrawn is going to win. It's going to kind of be like Infinity War for Star Wars, essentially.
So does he win in the sense that they get trapped on that planet?
I have no idea. This is the farthest in the timeline we've seen prior to The Force Awakens. Gotcha. This is the farthest we've ever gotten. So whatever comes next, who knows? I would assume that they probably all get back together. I would assume they all transfer back into the other galaxy, the normal one. And he probably, I don't know, he could fly over Coruscant and start just bombing stuff. I have no idea. But whatever happens, he's gonna end up winning in a sense. I don't think anybody will die necessarily. But it's gonna be left on a cliffhanger for whatever, either season 2 or the movie or whatever they're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
But he'll win, whatever it is. He'll end up winning at the end of the episode.
Makes sense.
I think I would prefer going into like something like that, knowing it's going to end with a cliffhanger in some cases. But in other cases, I like the surprise factor. If it's something I really don't see coming.
I mean, knowing it's probably going to end with a cliffhanger kind of takes away from the weight of having to have the perfect ending.
Yes.
Which
I
means
agree.
they can afford to wrap it up later, better than what they would do in their 8-episode arc. Because Disney Plus is notorious for having really short seasons with really short episodes in those seasons, and they always fumble it towards the end, no matter how strong they start.
We'll see.
Which also has me a little worried for Loki. Do we know how many episodes is in Loki?
I want to say it's 6. Let me check right now.
6? Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of them doing these 6-part episodes.
It's either 6 or 8. 6 episodes, yeah.
I'm not thrilled for it.
No. I honestly haven't really even seen anybody talking about it.
No.
Which is surprising because I feel like the ramp up for the first season of Loki was like through the roof.
I feel like I saw like a new trailer or like more of a trailer today during the football game, and there was like a character that you could only assume is the villain, and I was like, who the hell is that guy? Like I've never heard of.
Is Kang not in? Well, actually,
no, it was like another white guy. So I was like, who the hell is that guy?
Is Kang even in season 2 with all the stuff that was this filmed prior to?
Yes,
he's supposed to be a big part of this.
From my so I've heard different things. I've heard that he's got a big part in the first couple of episodes. I don't know if that means he's going to become background in the rest of the show or what that means. But as far as I know, he is going to be in the series. But that's that's from what I haven't seen any clips of him in the trailers, so I don't know. They could have changed that. I'm not entirely sure on that though.
No. I don't have high expectations.
Yeah, at this point, I don't want to say I've completely given up on Marvel, but I'm just about there.
Well, The Marvels is not going to be good. There's no way.
No, I feel like all interest in Marvel shows, movies, anything, it's just dropped. It's fallen off the deep end, and it wasn't an immediate drop off either. They've just been having
a slow decline.
Yeah, and it's not getting better. Movie after movie after show, it just keeps going down. The Marvels does not look great.
No.
I really don't care about it. I'll probably only see it because I've seen every Marvel movie since I think
the beginning of time.
Yeah, so I feel obligated to go see it, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
No, and I still maintain, I mean, obviously finishing the Infinity Saga, but losing Iron Man has crushed Marvel.
Yeah, I think losing Iron Man and Captain America, I think not having those two, because they kind of had like a balance. Iron Man was the wild, you never know what he's going to pull out of his pocket character who kind of did whatever he wanted. And Captain America was such we have to follow these orders. We have to be these good people. We have to do this and that. And it was always such a great dynamic having them bump heads against each other. And then without them, it just feels empty.
There's no leadership.
Yeah, and I thought they were going to do one of two things. Obviously, we lost Chadwick Boseman, which is tragic. I think he would have been great I don't know if he would have been as good as Captain America if he was the replacement for that character. But I was pretty confident that they were going to take Doctor Strange as the replacement for Iron Man, which they did not do, at least not at the moment, which is weird.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to go all in on Doctor Strange, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And then even in like his own movie, he seemed to almost get sidelined a little bit. He was almost like the secondary character in his own movie, which was kind of weird in the second one.
Yeah.
And then he made
actually took over.
yeah, I mean she was kind of almost like, I know she was the protagonist, but or antagonist, but I know she was almost like the main character of the movie.
Yeah.
And then even in Spider-Man No Way Home, he played kind of the idiot role. I feel like he should have known better than to do the stuff that he did in that movie, which was
Yeah,
kind
and
of weird.
he did it like willingly in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, out of all the stuff he went through, all the stuff in his first origin movie, the stuff he went through in Infinity War and Endgame, like he seemed like he was so smart and pretty competent. And then Spider-Man's just like, "Oh, just do this spell." And he's like, "Oh, it could be devastating." He's like, "Just do it." And they did it.
Well,
There was this new conflict.
like in Infinity War and all that stuff, like Doctor Strange goes into the future essentially and finds out that there's only one way to win. So why didn't he do that with Spider-Man before all that took place?
Like, hold on a second. Let me just check the outcomes of this real quick.
Yeah, like
Especially
yeah,
if
we're not
apparently he
gonna
can just
do
do it on a
that.
whim.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
man.
know Peter was in trouble with, the going to court over whatever, and everybody knew who he was and stuff. But like, I don't think it was like he was gonna die the next day if this didn't happen. So like, Doctor Strange would have been like, "Yeah, can we just hold off for like a couple hours? Let me just check in on this real quick."
Yeah. Let me consult the sorcery books.
And then it was kind of weird too because they had the one-off line in the background where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not Supreme Sorcerer anymore. Wong is."
Yeah,
They just kind of like, which is even weirder because again, I thought he was going to be the leader of the Avengers groups.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
There really is no Avengers right now, right?
No, there's
They're
no
all
Avengers. There's no team. The only team that we have is Guardians, and I don't think we're getting them again.
No. Dave
So-
Bautista's like, I'm done as Drax.
James Gunn is gone.
Chris Pratt is coming back, but he'll probably just be Star-Lord like on his own.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the actual Guardians of the Galaxy again. I think that team is done.
We're getting like the new ones with like Adam Warlock and Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, which I don't really care about.
Yeah, not
Truth
really.
be told. It was kind of like at the end of Age of Ultron, where they had the really crappy Avengers team up, where it was like Black Widow and who was Black Widow, Falcon, and it was like the really like side character War Machine. Like I don't want to see that Avengers movie. That's not something I'm interested in.
They're great when they're like sidekicks, but they do not need to lead a movie.
No, they don't carry their own movies. Even like the Falcon, I might be a hot take, but even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I didn't love that show.
No.
I love Winter Soldier, but I don't really care. I don't think Falcon can carry his own franchise. I don't think he's big enough for that. And even rebranding him as Captain America, I don't think works super well.
No, but he's
Like I think he was
getting
good.
that movie.
Yeah, nothing against the actor or anything. I just don't think that. I think Disney has gone too far with just throwing every character they can at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like we don't need shows and movies for every single character you have. I know you ran your line with the Infinity Saga and you ran out of some of the characters that either died or moved on or whatever, but perhaps maybe it was time for it to end. I know it was a money-making machine, but quality over quantity, I guess, just went out the window.
Well, what they should do now is just do a heel turn and just produce like villain movies where the superheroes are like the side characters.
I think they also need to like take a look and maybe don't follow DC's steps because they're not doing good. But like look at the movies like the Joker and the Batman. you can do solo movies that aren't necessarily MCU movies. You can take a Marvel character and kind of what they're doing with Deadpool 3. That probably has nothing to do with anything as far as I know.
Yeah.
It's just its own entity. It probably will reference the MCU in some way, shape, or form. And who knows? He might pop up right next to Drax for all we know. But I don't think he's gonna have any actual consequences within the future of the MCU.
Probably not. I wouldn't think so.
And now that they have access to the X-Men and stuff, they could make some killer movies with those.
Yeah,
I know they want to probably introduce them to the MCU, but they don't have to.
Yeah, they're definitely going to. I just hope they do it the right way. Or do it in a sensical way and not just like you're watching the Marvels and Beast is in the background and you're like, what the hell? Like why is Beast here all of a sudden? Like I don't know. I feel like they should just wait for that Deadpool movie for the X-Men to just full on screen X-Men characters.
Well, so my thing is, I've only ever seen the original 3 X-Men. I've seen the original 3 X-Men and the 3 Wolverine movies. But my understanding is that the mutants are like a global thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be kind of tricky assuming that they stick with that story arc for mutants. It's going to be kind of tricky to just randomly throw those into the storyline, being like, oh yeah, mutants are a thing. They've been a thing. They're always going to be a thing. And now there's hundreds and possibly thousands of them that have random abilities and powers. Obviously, they have the different dimensions and crap, but I'm so sick of that. I'm already tired of it.
Yeah, stay in one plane, one plane. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, because like I said, it's gonna be kind of weird if you all of a sudden go, oh yeah, by the way, mutants are a thing. They could have helped out during all these catastrophes and wars, but they were learning in school. They were busy.
That's why they gotta just show up in Deadpool as a joke. You know what I mean? Like breaking the fourth wall joke of we would have had these guys earlier in Infinity War, but we didn't have the rights, and move on from there.
I could definitely picture that.
As just an easy way to write it off and then just continue on.
I really hope that they don't do the thing where they're like, oh well, they were in a different dimension or a different time.
They're trapped.
I don't want that.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I had to handle some personal matters. What what are we talking about?
The MCU and how to introduce the X-Men.
Oh.
And
because what I was saying was that what I don't want them to do is just I'm kind of sick and tired of the whole trope with multiverse and dimensions and alternate realities. I don't want that. So I think it would be so cheap for them to be like, oh, the X-Men have been in this alternate dimension, but now they're here. Because the little that I do know about the X-Men is, mutants. There's a mutant gene that can pop out of people. And it's like a global thing. So it would be kind of weird for them to be like, oh yeah, the X-Men are around. There's a ton of people that have powers, but they couldn't help out during anything because they were busy. I hate that. It's so stupid.
That is stupid. However they do it, they have to approach it in a good way. But there's been discussion, and you guys may have just covered this while I was just debriefing. There's been talks about them doing a soft reboot after Secret Wars. And so
the MCU or X-Men?
The MCU.
Soft reboot. Jesus Christ, that's 25 years later.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means, but how I would do it if I was in charge of it would be I would hold off on doing anything mutant related until that, because Secret Wars, if they follow that adaptation from the comics, is like Battle World. They just all the characters end up on one planet and they all kind of hash it out trying to fight somebody, and then at that planet. I don't know what happens at the end of it, but like maybe I genuinely I don't know enough to make a opinion on this, but like I would just prefer them not try to introduce the X-Men until they're ready to start over if that's what they're gonna do.
That makes sense.
I would still love to see Deadpool 3 because Deadpool 3 is supposed to be the send off to the Fox universe.
Yeah.
And then I think what we're gonna happen is in that maybe that might set up Secret Wars. Like they might throw some of the X-Men characters from Fox that they want to retire into that, and then they could maybe have a little crossover there. And then maybe I don't know something happens at the end of Secret Wars where there's like an explosion or like an eruption of the universe like the multiverse finally decides to break, and because of that it just resets the universe. But like also same deal with that is if they're gonna redo that, I would hope that they would just wait because like they can't if they want to do a soft reboot. I don't know how that's gonna go over keeping some characters and not others. Like they're trying to introduce the Fantastic Four before Secret Wars.
Kind of like how DC is trying to do it, where they're
Yeah.
like keeping some characters and actors, but also not, and then it just becomes confusing and muddled.
Yeah. So with DC, I know that they're going to be keeping Blue Beetle, John Cena, which you talked about last week. Peacemaker's sticking around, and then Viola Davis's character is supposed to get her own show. So.
Which kind of makes sense because the Suicide Squad, the first one, Suicide Squad, was trash.
The fact that you have to make that distinction though is very sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It pretty much just doesn't even exist as far as canon goes. It like
No.
I don't even think they reference it merely at all. I think they might do like one line or something.
Give a one-off for it.
But the second Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker are almost like a soft reboot in itself. Of like, they're almost creating their own franchise of like rated R DC movies, rated R DCU essentially, which could be really cool. I think DC needs to. Obviously, every movie they make does not need to be rated R, but their characters are darker and have grittier stories and stuff, so I think they need to lean more heavily into that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make as much money, but
trying to think like the Joker I was a big fan of, and now the Joker 2 is coming out, but it's a musical.
Yes, I saw that.
That I just
bizarre choice. Why?
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it'll be good in its own way. And like they cast Lady Gaga as
in its own way. The way that you had to say that too is sad. I'm sure it'll be good.
It's just a weird choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who does we're gonna do a sequel, but it's a musical. Like the first one wasn't. Why is the second one?
For a comic book character, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah.
And such a twisted and violent comic book character, nonetheless.
Exactly.
When they first introduced it, they were kind of like, yeah, there's going to be some music in it. But now they're like, it's a full-on musical. Like, it's a musical. Like, you're going to get a song every 12 minutes. There's going to be a 3 to 4 minute scene of a song. Like,
I'm not a musical person. I don't really like musicals. Very select ones that I've enjoyed. Very select ones. So I'm not looking forward to this movie at all.
Okay, and here's the opposite end of that. I am a musical person. I'm doing one right now. I love it. I am not looking forward to this either. There are some things that are just not meant to be made into musicals.
But it may also crush.
Yeah.
Because it's never been done. There's not a single superhero musical.
Or, hear me out,
well,
it'll be another The Flash movie, and we're going to be stuck with that.
But the first Joker was really good, and people loved Heath Ledger.
It was.
Like, for them to like crush another Joker character with a different actor, I mean, that's bravo. I mean, you got the right one. Joaquin
And
Phoenix is like a
I
mental
could be
case in himself.
wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Aquaman cracked $1 billion.
I think I heard
don't
that too.
I think
Yes.
Aquaman and Wonder Woman both cracked $1 billion. I don't think any of the other DC movies cracked $1 billion except for the Joker. I think the Joker was the first one to crack $1 billion since Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
That's why I don't understand why they would change the formula so much.
You had a good thing going.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
uh,
Um.
Is
Yeah.
the Batman gonna be a musical too? The Batman
that
2?
would be fantastic. Robert Pattinson just
With
singing all of his lines.
is it who's the villain in this one? Clayface or is it somebody else?
I have no
I think
idea.
Clayface. That sounds right.
I only saw the picture of it, and I think it looked like Clayface or something. But just imagine them singing around. They're like doing like loops and stuff in circles.
Colin Farrell's
Um.
penguin singing.
It's interesting because, and I still have. This is not changing my impression about how I feel about the Joker too. But like a lot of things should not have been made into musicals and have been more successful. Like SpongeBob is a musical that shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's better than it should be. Um, Mean Girls isn't like there a lot of them that should not be musicals, and the Joker is definitely on that list. But the only difference here is this is a movie musical, not a stage production.
Yeah, that is very different.
Um, and like Steve, like you said, like superhero musicals are not a thing. They attempted to do a Spider-Man musical on Broadway, and it is Broadway's biggest failure. Like they tried to make it interactive, like having him swing like on a harness like throughout the audience, just above the audience, which is a cool concept. Except one of the actors' harness broke, the actor fell and actually died.
Oh my god! I feel like I remember reading
So
about it.
yeah, and it's like that kind of puts a stick in the mud. Like not really, not really sure how you could do that too. I mean, I guess
Though
some
there's
characters are better than others, but
there's a difference between doing a film musical and a stage production.
uh-huh.
Stage production
Exactly.
musical, you can not necessarily have audience interaction, but it just kind of makes sense in a way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, a film musical it doesn't necessarily translate.
No, it doesn't.
It should be glorious to see either way.
Is it though?
I'm excited in general.
I'm waiting for the Suicide Squad, the new Squad.
Suicide Squad
I
squared.
saw a post this morning. I don't know how true it is that Warner Brothers finally fired Gal Gadot from being Wonder Woman.
Really?
I
That
do.
Yeah, I saw there was a bunch of articles that I saw. Again, I don't know how true it is.
I'm
I
checking that right now.
didn't read, but
it was just clickbait.
but that is if it is true, that's super weird. Why even keep her around this long?
Yeah, like is she still promoting the image of Wonder Woman like years after the movie?
But you literally just had her in the Flash movie, and you fired her. You fired Henry Cavill, brought him back for Black Adam, and then fired him again. What are you people doing over there?
On a side note, slightly, why did Henry Cavill get fired from Superman and quit The Witcher? Like, does he just not want to act anymore? Like, what's the deal?
Well, I don't think him leaving Superman was his choice.
But it's just like
I don't
everything
think so. I
collapsed
think
for
he
him
wanted. I
all
think
at
he wanted
once.
to keep playing Superman.
So I do know a little bit about The Witcher. I don't know a ton, and I know this from a friend of mine who is super into The Witcher, both the video game and the show.
Like, I watched a few episodes, and he felt like a good
So
cast.
from my understanding, is Henry Cavill is super into The Witcher. He loves it.
Yeah.
And he's like big into like D&D or maybe not D&D. What is it? It's like the online World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Yes.
So he's really big into like that type of stuff. So he was super hands-on when it came to translating The Witcher. I'm pretty sure it was based off the game. He was super hands-on with translating the game into the show, essentially.
So he was like an annoying part of it more than anything.
Yeah, so he wanted to keep it as true to The Witcher as possible. But I guess there was a lot of back and forth between the execs or whoever the writers or producers are on the show. So essentially, they would not do it the way he wanted to, and he left via creative differences, essentially.
Yeah.
That's my understanding, is that he wanted it a certain way, which was trying to be more true to The Witcher, and they were not having it for whatever reason. So it was something like that, from my understanding.
So
Just
I
felt
don't.
weird. It felt weird that he was like quitting Superman, fired from Superman, also quitting The Witcher, and is trying so hard to be James Bond, but like hasn't been cast as James Bond yet. Like nothing seems to be going his way. And I
I
like
mean,
Henry
he
Cavill.
was
Like he's good.
he was not pretty good. He was great and Mission Impossible
Yeah,
until he
with
was
True.
not.
his reloading arms.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty great. That scene alone deserves an award.
He was in. Was he in that uh, Sherlock Holmes spin-off thing?
Oh, Enola Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Sherlock.
Okay, he was. Okay.
He was pretty good in that too.
Yeah, I remember that. I just read, this is like a side to what we're talking about right now, but like I read an article on that like um what's her name, Millie Bobby Brown, was like tried to be like really close like friends with him, but it was like making him uncomfortable, so he decided to like just keep his distance to be safe. Because like she was so used to like hanging out with her Stranger Things castmates because they were all the same age and they all got along really well.
Yeah.
And so she wanted the same thing on that show too, but he was like sensible enough to keep his distance.
She's like
That's pretty
20.
smart, I
He's
guess.
like 40, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty
and
smart, I suppose.
it's
Yeah.
just it's a problem that I have to applaud him for making that realization.
I mean, to be fair, even if there's no bad intentions, one wrong thing said, you're done.
Especially in this environment, like in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
One bad thing said, you're done. You're
Well,
gone.
All that said, if they wanted to keep Gal Gadot around, I would not be complaining.
So I mean,
No.
that kind of goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about like soft rebooting and stuff. It just becomes confusing. If you're gonna do a soft reboot, but not a full reboot, and you're gonna keep some of the same characters and the actors and actresses who played those characters, but what you're saying is that everything that came before it doesn't count. So you're gonna start from scratch. You're just gonna confuse people. Like
Yeah.
if you come out with a Wonder Woman movie and just call it Wonder Woman, people are going to assume it's Wonder Woman 3 because Gal Gadot is starring in it. And then they're going to go
Correct.
through it and it's going to be like Wonder Woman's origin story, or whoever knows what they would do, whatever it is. They're going to be like, oh, but what about this that happened? What about that? Which she knows Batman, right? Oh, no, that didn't happen. Like, it's confusing for audience members.
Yeah, so there, I'm reading a thing on Screen Rant right now, and someone says, this is on Twitter or X, someone said, I'm wondering, how does the Blue Beetle movie factor in at this point in time? It says, in the past, this is to James Gunn, you had said it was included in the new DCU, but some statements are conflicting. So will it have any relation to future projects? And then James Gunn responded to that and just said, the actor who played Blue Beetle will continue doing that, as will Viola Davis and John Cena. And then it says that this recent thread is the latest story creating the uncertainty about Gal Gadot's return. Because it says then Gal Gadot kicked off speculation by claiming Wonder Woman 3 was being developed by her and James Gunn. However, her statement has since failed to gain traction, and reports that indicate that the movie may not be in the works after all. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
On the topic of DC, I did just me and Andrew finally saw the Aquaman 2 trailer. And holy shit, that movie looks like hot garbage.
The CGI is miserable.
I don't think
looks
that Aquaman should like James, not James. I'm sorry, Jason Momoa is probably the perfect actor to play him, appearance wise. But like, I just don't think he's using the right voice. I don't think he should sound the way he sounds. Maybe it's because I'm looking at Jason Momoa and I see the guy from Game of Thrones.
I couldn't even get to the part where he's talking. I was just so focused on the fact that they look like underwater, but they're floating in space, but obviously they're not underwater, and everything around them looks like it's made out of Play-Doh.
And I'm going to assume he has a son with Amber Heard who's not going to be in the movie.
Oh my God, it's a mess. I don't know why they even continued to make it. I know the first one made a shit ton of money, but
that's why they continued to make it. Just let you know the secret there.
God, it's so bad. It looks so bad. And, I didn't hate the first one. I didn't think it looked that bad either. But I don't know where the money went to trying to bury Amber Heard in this movie, apparently, because the CGI is so bad. Some of the worst I've seen in a long time.
The funny thing was, when this trailer played before the creator, when Colby and I saw it, and I had no clue the trailer was playing until he goes, "Oh, well, I guess it's finally time for me to see it." And I looked up, and I was like upset that you made me look up to see what was playing.
No, it wasn't a pleasant 3 minutes.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that movie.
They were thinking they have to put it out at this point and just be done with it.
It was kind of like the Flash. They're like, we just have to do it. It's too late.
I didn't hate the Flash.
I didn't hate the Flash either.
I actually enjoyed it.
CGI in it was pretty bad. There was a lot of bad CGI.
For some reason, the CGI never, unless it's like really, really bad, like Secret Invasion bad, it doesn't bother me. Or She-Hulk bad. She-Hulk was terrible for CGI. Yeah, and so, but like for the movies, like CGI for me really has not been too much of an issue.
I'm a big CGI guy in graphics. Between video games and movies, I'm all about it. If you tell me the prettiest movie ever is on screen right now, even though the story might be total garbage, I'll watch it just because it looks pretty. I mean, I sat through Avatar 3 times.
True.
And there's not much to the plot of those movies. They just look really pretty. So when
I
there's
also get
CGI that's
very
not
invested
good,
with stories.
it stands out so bad. Like the beginning of Flash, the falling skyscraper when he's like catching the babies in the air. That
was bad. I'll give you that.
That was abysmal. Yeah, and like you said, getting through the end of Secret Invasion was pretty rough. That last episode.
What they did to Emilia Clarke was just wrong.
Yeah, I don't know who. Yeah, they got to figure this stuff out over DC and Marvel. That for a long time, Marvel was really leading the charge there, but they've fallen very far. They're not as low as DC is, but they're not really gaining much on them right now.
But I also think that they're both having to deal with superhero fatigue being a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, I found myself just not caring about Marvel. Could be because of the movies, but yeah, I think I'm definitely over the superheroes. I need a break.
And then I guess going back to the reboot thing, if they want to do a reboot after Secret Wars, wait a couple of years, a few years maybe.
I'm okay with that.
Take your time. If it's worth it in the long run, then we're all okay with it.
I mean, so back when the pandemic started, there was I think it was like a year or a year and a half period where we had no Marvel content.
Yeah.
That was the longest period of time that we went without a Marvel project since Iron Man came out. And the fans were so deprived that when I think WandaVision was the first one to come out, the hype train for that was unlike anything I had seen before.
I remember clear as day talking to Colby about this and how excited we were that we were going to have almost new Marvel content almost every week.
We were very excited.
And
come to find out,
to me 3 years later,
come to find out 3 years later, I'm not wishing that anymore.
Like WandaVision to me was a great show. It was rewatchable. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I wasn't great. Set out to do what it did. Loki was awesome, but now we're questioning Loki season 2 because of everything else that Marvel has done since then.
I mean, yeah, Loki season 1 came out 3 years ago. A lot has changed between Marvel, not even just Marvel, but Disney themselves and Disney Plus. There's a lot that's changed in the past 3 years. So
I really want to know how they incorporate McDonald's into Loki season 2.
Yeah, what a weird ad campaign. Also, I don't even, is it even still going on? Because they launched that so early, and I feel like everybody was talking about it for 4 days and then it stopped.
I want to say that they had because the show season 2 of Loki has been delayed countless times, and I'm wondering if they had signed all these contracts with McDonald's or had all these promotional things set in motion ahead of time when they thought it was going to be airing at a different date, because right now McDonald's is doing Happy Meals for the Marvels, and it's been doing them since September 1st. And that movie comes out November 10th or something like that.
Yeah, and that was delayed, I'm pretty sure, too, originally. I think
Yeah,
originally that was supposed to come out back in February.
I think the Marvels was July.
Was it July? I know it was supposed to come out a while back.
Guardians 3 was always supposed to be May. And what did we get earlier this year? Did we get anything else? Was that?
No,
that was last November.
Oh, November, yeah, that was last year.
That it? There was. It's this. I never thought I'd come across a day where I couldn't remember what Marvel movie came out when. No, Thor was July of last year.
Oh my god, that was that long. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We got Across the Spider-Verse too.
Yes, which was very good. I enjoyed that one.
It was better than half the Marvel movies I've seen.
We got Ant-Man in February.
That's what it was. Okay, that's why I couldn't remember it. That explains that.
Movie.
I mean, and again, I think the three of us enjoyed that one more than a lot of other people did. I don't know. I didn't. I went into that with expecting to have fun with an Ant-Man movie, and
here's the problem, though. I feel like every time we go to see a movie, though, we end up enjoying it because our expectations are just so low. So as long as they just come across just a little bit, we're like, oh, that was pretty good. Because I remember going to Ant-Man, you and me, Andrew, were like, we're not expecting anything.
No.
And Steve, I'm pretty sure you were on the same page, too.
Yeah, low expectations.
The only thing we were excited for was Jonathan Majors, which held up.
Yeah, it did. And now we might never get him again.
Wait, what's your least favorite Marvel movie you guys have seen in theaters?
Eternals.
See, we saw. Did the three of us see it in theaters? Because I remember seeing it. I saw
you
it
and I saw it, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we saw it too.
It was in IMAX, and I thought it sounded and looked good. It wasn't a great story, but at least it was people I had never heard of.
Yeah.
My problem with the Eternals is that it was just too long. It was a long movie.
That's true.
It was long.
But for me, I hated every second of Black Panther 2. It was just so bad.
I didn't hate the whole thing. There was parts of it I liked. There was more of it that I didn't like for sure.
I didn't know what to expect, so I had medium expectations, and they were crushed over and over again for me.
And I think with that one also, as it tends to be, I'm usually higher on these things than you guys are, but I'm also, I don't know, I just don't really care as much going in. I just want to enjoy myself, which I know you guys do too. But it just seems to be I'm a little higher on them. But with Black Panther 2, it had a lot that it had to accomplish, prioritizing Chadwick Boseman's legacy, which I think that aspect they handled fine. But then the rest of the movie just
part of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked where they ended it with M'Baku being king of he's the king, right? Of Wakanda.
I honestly don't even remember.
And then Shuri was keeping the Black Panther mantle. I liked how they left the characters, but the movie again I thought that one was too long. It dragged on a little bit.
Yeah, I think that one was close to 3 hours too.
It's just 240 something, I think.
Yeah, there are some movies I'll sit there and I'll watch 9 hours worth of the movie. There's other movies that after like the 2 hour mark, it's like you gotta wrap this up.
Yeah,
I'm
wrap
done.
it up. Wrap it up.
I think I'd have to agree with Colby though, and probably say, well, are we talking just MCU or Marvel?
Just Marvel.
Okay, then Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
That movie was pretty bad.
That was
Yeah.
the first movie Steve and I saw together.
Yeah, it was.
Holds a very
Wow,
special place in my heart for that very reason.
It's that bad.
It only
Yeah.
went up from there.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh man,
Well, I guess
that's so bad.
kind of on that topic, what is the worst movie the three of us have seen? Like in general, what do we think is the worst movie we have gone to see?
I don't know. I was
We've
looking
seen so
through,
many.
I was looking through Fandango because it shows you like your history,
Yeah.
and like nothing struck me as like, oh, that was terrible.
Because I couldn't for the life of me think of it, but I swear on my life, we all went to go see a movie one time, and we came out of there thinking it was like the worst movie we've ever seen in our lives. I don't remember what it could have been, but I feel like I remember having one of those experiences.
I'll check my purchase history. I usually do the Showcase app, so.
Bullet Train.
Purchase history. I like Bullet Train.
Well, I don't think
Past purchases.
you guys didn't like Everything Everywhere All at Once as much as I did.
No.
No, I didn't.
And so
I
we were
hate it, but
actually
I didn't
talking.
love it.
It was also 100 degrees in the theater. Do you remember?
Yes,
Mhm.
that did not.
It was so hot. It was frustrating.
By the time Act 3 rolled around, I was sweating.
Yeah, and I was trying to sleep because I was like teaching the next day.
Oh my god! So, no spoilers for the creator, but the creator kind of had
Oh yeah,
act
yeah.
in it,
Had
kind of
what?
like acts in the movie. So it was like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, but they were
Yeah.
named like the child or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I think there was just three of them. But when the first one popped up, the glare that I gave to Andrew,
Yep.
because in my head I was like, "Oh no!" I thought it was gonna be like the Everywhere, Anywhere, All the Time, or whatever it was, and I was like, "This movie is gonna be 7 hours long."
It was only like 2 hours. The title of the movie and the trailer makes it seem like it's an epic movie.
And it kind of was for what it was. Like I was very impressed.
So what's like a no spoilers review of the creator since I missed it?
All right. Well, so I'll start this by I would definitely see it again.
Yes,
It-
I would too.
Good enough to see a second time. I think that there's a lot to unpack in the movie. I think they do a great job with taking the concept of AI entities and giving them emotions and having, they start off the movie with you feeling probably how you've always felt about the thought of AI having their own bodies, essentially, where it's like, oh, they're probably not great, whatever. And
Yeah.
they start off by making you not like them. By the end of the movie, though, they've completely flipped the coin.
Mhm.
I think they really, really do a good job at character development for the AI. Now, not a spoiler, but the AI do have bodies and faces.
Yeah.
Basically, people can donate their likeness, and they give the AI robots fake skin, essentially, to make them look like people.
So it's
So-
like organ donation, basically.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
know if I felt more compelled to like those characters because of the actual plot and story through the AI, or if it was because they did look like humans. So, like in my head, I was thinking they were real actors and characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
So I'm
might
not-
have been, yeah.
I'm not sure. I
Um,
haven't decided how I felt based off that. Like, I could just be like, "Oh, I liked this actor. He did a good job, so I feel bad for him." Or if it was like, "Oh, the AI actually is traumatizing, and I feel bad for it." Like, I can't tell between the two.
So
Gotcha.
as like Colby had said, it had the chapter format similar to Everything Everywhere. And there were 4 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. The first one for me was the worst.
That's
It was
never-
It was a little slow. It wasn't bad, but of the 4 of them, I think it was the weakest. But so it got progressively better to me, and I mean, I would say you pretty did a good job of describing it, Colby. I would say the same thing there. Like it ended how it ended, I wasn't expecting to be feeling the way I did towards the AI.
Yeah. Huh.
And like I said, it's difficult because I'm not sure if I felt bad for the AI or if I felt bad because
Yeah.
it looks like characters and actors that I've known for a long time. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and maybe that's the point. I don't know, because part of the point of the movie was that giving the AI likeness to humans was to help integrate them and make them feel like they're part of the system. So potential that was the point of the movie. That you feel bad because they basically are like humans. They have thoughts, feelings, and look like us. So why shouldn't they be treated like us?
They're not robots, basically.
Yeah. So like
Right.
maybe that is the point of it. But either way, I think they really do a great job at giving character development and emotion and stuff to the AI to have the audience really feel like they do feel for them.
Gotcha.
Almost like they're a victim, essentially.
Okay. Definitely
But
something we'll have to see.
yeah, I think it's right up your alley. I think it's something you would like.
I think Steve, you would like it.
Nice.
I did watch the first 25 minutes of Blade Runner. And again, only the first 25 minutes. Not what I ever would have expected it was. I don't know what I thought it was. But
It's not the fastest movie, I don't think.
no, definitely isn't. Not the 25, not the first 25 minutes at least. It's kind of rough to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, it is like
Kinda-
20, 30 years old now, too, right?
Yeah, and I think it came out in 1982, which I think was right before Return of the Jedi came out. So it was in between him filming the Star Wars movies.
Okay.
And it definitely looks like they took a little bit of inspiration from Star Wars
Yeah.
with the futuristic tech and everything.
I'm pretty sure
It takes-
everything that day did that, though.
It takes place in 2019. So it was kind of funny seeing how they thought 2019 would look 40 years later. Because I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine why you thought it would look like this. But it's a little rough, especially after seeing the creator the night prior.
Yeah.
I think, and I haven't seen the newest Blade Runner, so the newest one might be better. And I haven't finished the first one.
I heard the new one is like really impressive visually,
But not story wise.
I don't know. I've heard both, but like visually, it's like visually stunning to go along with a good story.
I think no matter what, whether we watch it for the podcast or not, I'll probably go through and watch them because I am intrigued. I do want to watch them.
Yeah.
But I definitely think because from what I've gathered, it is kind of just it's like AI, whatever they called them. But it's basically AI in that movie. And so I think watching that with the creator right before, I think obviously the creator's a modern movie, so you have a lot better filming technology and it looks better and it sounds better and all that stuff. But I think the concept, from what I've understood of Blade Runner so far, is not as compelling as it was in the creator. Obviously, it was filmed in 1982, so it's very different from now. They probably didn't even think AI was actually going to happen. Even though it obviously has, but I think it's not the movie I thought it was going to be when I started watching it. It is very slow. Also very dark. Not like tonally, but visually it's a dark movie. I had all my lights off and I'm like, I can't even see what Harrison Ford is doing over there.
Yeah. That's
but I'll go back and finish it. By next week I'll have watched it for sure. I'll let you know.
I think too, like the creator was about AI, and if we were watching if we all saw the creator and talked about it, but then we all watched like our own AI movie and talked about that could kind of be a cool concept.
I know it's going to be a cool concept.
I was talking to my dad about this, the idea of it, just like the AI part of it, and he told me that there was a a radio show that he used to listen to, because he just loves listening to like old radio shows. But there was one where it's like took place in like, it was probably like released in like the 40s or the 50s, and it was their idea of what the future like technology was going to be like. And it was like everyone had a device that they could ask questions to, and it would answer them, like similar to how we have like Siri and Alexa now. It's just interesting how like that stuff like actually came to be.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, even like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have expected us to be where we are.
No, I absolutely
Never
even in the past couple of years.
Hell, even in the last 6 months with the AI voices that people have created online,
Yeah.
where, like
GPT or whatever it's called.
Yeah, blows my mind. 6 months ago, I didn't think that was a thing.
Yeah. Now it is.
Just wait. Once they figure out how to put ChatGPT into actual robots, say goodbye to teachers.
Have you guys ever seen? Go for it.
Have we seen what?
I thought Colby was saying something.
Oh no! I was just saying Andrew just started teaching. That would be such a shame.
Yeah. The robots could have them for all I care.
Oh yeah. Have you guys seen? Either of you guys seen Ex Machina?
No.
I have not. No. Heard of it.
That's like it's like a location type movie. It takes place in like this secret mansion. Like nobody knows where it is. You get like an invitation and you show up, and it's Oscar Isaac lives there. I don't remember his character name, but he's like this recluse genius, and like this guy comes in because he's also really smart, and Oscar Isaac has developed a like female AI robot, and he wants to bring in somebody to basically test it to see if it has feelings and emotions and how it functions and how it works. And it's like this crazy movie that just takes place in this mansion with this like AI robot, a crazy like eccentric genius Oscar Isaac, and then the guy that comes in is Domhnall Gleeson. He's in like the Star Wars movies and stuff. It's a good watch if you're ever looking for something about AI.
It interests me.
It's
I've
creepy.
got so many things on my watch list between movies and show. I'm not a big show guy.
Yeah,
like
it takes a lot more.
It's just so overwhelming. A movie I can pop in and just watch it overnight. I can watch it at night in one sitting.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody's like, "Oh, you should watch this show," and I look it up and it's like 9 seasons. Each season has 30 episodes and they're all an hour long. I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that."
No, I'm good.
Like I've tried into like The Walking Dead 4 times now, I think. I always make it to like season 4 or 5 and then I check out. I'm like, this is too overwhelming.
I've only seen The Walking Dead once.
That's about when you want to check out anyways, so.
I
made it to like,
it's real bad the last couple seasons.
I know there's like 4 spin-offs.
Yeah, there's
like a whole Walking Dead universe.
Yeah, the spin-off right now, it's not bad. It's just called like Walking Dead Daryl Dixon.
Yeah, I think Cat watch it.
But like,
I think I made it to season 6.
Daryl Dixon, the entirety of The Walking Dead takes place in Georgia. The opening scene of the Daryl Dixon show, he washes up on the shore of France.
What?
You're like, how the fuck did this guy get across the Atlantic? Yeah, like, and of course, like, they haven't gone into it yet. Maybe they will, of how he got there. But he's, like, mentioned it. He's like, well, I just got in with the wrong people, and I just ended up here. And it's like, that's hard to do, like, with today, with everything functioning the way it is. Never mind when it's, like, 10 years into the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, like... you want a boat? Do they still fly planes during the apocalypse?
There's like a couple, but they don't have like air traffic control. Like they're not flying over the ocean.
Yeah, like would they know how to fly over the ocean?
I mean, it's cool that we're getting a new setting and like new characters and stuff. But like
just logically,
yeah, it's too hard to fathom.
You're like, this guy didn't move more than 50 miles in the entirety of the 15 seasons, and all of a sudden he's on the other side of the planet.
He's in France. Like,
That is
what?
really weird. I didn't know it took place in France.
Oh man, it's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Did we want to try and?
You sound
I was gonna
tired.
say, did we want to try and do our top 10 movies?
Did you guys actually make a list?
I probably could not give you 10 movies, but I could name some of my favorite movies.
I would be better off at naming top franchises for sure.
I could do maybe 5 movies.
Yeah, I can give you like a snapshot of like 5 movies that I could watch at any second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a better one. Something
Yeah.
you could turn on any night.
Yep. So for me, I think the number one, which if it's on, I'll put it on. It doesn't matter what point of the movie it's in, is The Shawshank Redemption.
I've never actually seen that movie.
It's
Never seen that? Oh my god.
that
No,
one.
it's on
So
my list.
Colby, do you want to know the first? Well, so I'd seen clips like snippets of it every like now and then on the TV. Like if it was on, my mom would put it on towards the end or whatever. And I watched it in its entirety on a plane, and it kept me attended the whole time, which is saying something. It was like one of the options.
I mean, yeah, like I know the premise of it through pop culture
Prison
and
Break.
everything. But I've never actually sat down and watched that. I mean, I've seen clips online.
Mhm.
It's on my list of stuff to watch. My list of stuff to watch, I think, currently has about 130 movies on it. So at some
sounds
point,
about right.
someday, I'll get to it. Meanwhile, I'm rewatching Clone Wars and Rick and Morty, so I don't know why I do that. I'm like, let me pop something new on, and then I go back and rewatch the same old crap
It's
I've
like
seen.
I know how this one goes already, so I'll just watch it again.
Yeah.
Well, you can like do other things while you watch those types of movies.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Usually those shows are like my background shows.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, what other movies you got for us, Andrew?
Oh, well, the SpongeBob movie.
Naturally.
I could probably recite that movie from beginning to end, but I still watch it every time it's on.
I don't doubt that, and I would like to hear it one day on our podcast. Just
I
an
would be
hour
up.
and 40 minutes
So
of you
if I could
reciting.
have it on my TV, no captions muted, I could probably do it.
All right. I think we're into that.
I guess I would put Infinity War as one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I prefer Infinity War to Endgame just because there's more action scenes in it. And because of how it ends, like that's one of, in my opinion, the greatest endings to a film for part one.
Something that nobody thought they had the balls to do, and then they did it.
Exactly. And when Infinity War came out, like when they originally announced those movies, it was Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. And then they changed it because they're telling two separate stories, which looking back on it, yes they do. But I had forgotten. Like the thought just left my mind that it was a part 1 when I went to see Infinity War, and like my jaw was dropped at the end of it.
You know what I saw, I don't know if it was a clip online or it was a clip where somebody did a cut of Thanos snapping.
Mm-hmm.
And it cut immediately to Iron Man waking up in the cave in the first movie, like it was all a dream.
Oh,
Can you imagine if that's how they ended the Infinity Saga?
that's crazy.
That would be insane. I mean, yeah, I don't know how well that actually would have worked had we been sitting in the theater that day and watched that happen. But like looking back on it, that would have been pretty great.
What movie was it that they? I can't think of it. So there was. It ends like there's a tragic part of the movie, and then something happens, and then everything turns out okay. And some kid like edited the movie so it ended at the really tragic part, and then shows it to his mom.
Oh, Toy Story 3.
That's
I've
exactly
seen
what
that.
it was. With the
Yeah, I've
toys,
seen that
yeah,
clip.
yep. Where he has it end when the toys get like incinerated. That's how. Oh my god, that's
His mom was like crying and devastated. She's like, "What?
yeah,
You can't do it like that!" And he was in the back just cracking his ass up.
yeah.
but traumatizing.
Oh, for sure. I gotta think of the other two if you guys want to list off some.
Steve, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
I got a decent list.
Go for it.
It's hard for me to pick between the Lord of the Rings movies, but if I had to, it'd be the middle one, The Two Towers.
Okay.
I like that one.
Oh, everyone really likes the last one because it's the last one, and it's like an hour longer than the other ones, and the big action set pieces and stuff. But I don't know. There's just something about the second one that has more rewatchability for me, so I usually stick to that one. But I like them all pretty equal. They're like 1A, B, and C. Those are easily my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
My most recent favorite is absolutely Top Gun Maverick.
There you go.
I thought that movie was incredible
pretty good.
when we saw it. Because I think I saw it with Andrew. I think we saw it as a unit, and then I think I saw it 3 or 4 times in theaters. Don't remember.
Yeah. I think myself I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then when it came out on digital, I bought it, and I think I watched it another 3 times.
That's the first Blu-ray I've bought in like 3 years. I was like, I need to own this so I can just watch it whenever I want and like actually tangibly put it in the Blu-ray player. You know what I mean? Like
I enjoy this media.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to buy it, and I think it came with like a cool like dust jacket for the Blu-ray. So I was like, yeah, I need the dust jacket. So definitely that for me. I can always go back to Fight Club. That was like one of my early movies that I just really enjoyed.
I've never seen it.
That's a good one.
I haven't seen it either.
That's the Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Jared Leto's in that one. I know you guys are big fans.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Whoa. Is this pre-2016 Jared Leto or?
Oh yeah, this is like, I don't know. Fight Club was like the 2000s.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because after 2016, Jared Leto just kind of went off the rails.
I would be remiss to not have Morbius on my list.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That might be the worst movie ever made.
I forgot about that one. When we were talking about the worst movies we've seen, I think that might be on my list of worst things I've ever seen.
Colby,
that movie's
didn't you see that on your birthday?
Sure did. Dragged the whole family.
Yep.
I was like,
at home.
I didn't really want to see it. Cassie did want to see it. And so I was like, all right, well, we might as well go for my birthday. And background, my dad has seen 5 movies in theater, 4 or 5 movies since I was born.
Yeah.
So he saw, I think, Night at the Museum when that first came out.
Good one.
He saw Iron Man 3 because I dragged him to that for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got him to see Infinity War and Endgame. And so the 5th movie, and so out of the 5, I'd say the first 4 are pretty solid solid movies.
Yeah,
and then
I'd
I
say.
took him to go see Morbius. He'll probably never go see a movie again. And so we went to the movies, and it was release day on a Friday night at 8:00. It was my group of 4 or 5, and then there was 2 other groups in the theater. There was one group of 2 and one group of 1.
This is opening night.
Opening night, 8:00.
Yeah.
Opening night.
And there was less than 10 people in the theater.
Yeah, that's crazy. And half of them are your unit.
And I feel like I've never seen that before. Ever.
Well, that was like how, not to the same extent, but when we saw The Flash, it was empty.
Yeah, Rise of Beast had more people in it than The Flash did.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going, Steve. Keep going. Totally got off track.
I've always had like always enjoyed animated movies, so Finding Nemo has always been like a top tier animated movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was like 2003, so I was like 12. It was a little past when I should have probably enjoyed movies like that, but I just always enjoyed.
You're never too old for a Pixar movie. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely
I
not.
tend to agree. I'm also a big fan of The Good Dinosaur, which is like voted one of the worst Pixar movies they've ever
I was gonna
made.
say, that's like people's most hated Pixar.
I
Yeah,
think that
I don't
movie's great. I don't know,
I
it's
don't see
just
the
fun.
hate surrounding it. It's not my favorite, but I also
I've
didn't
only
like
ever seen it
hate.
once, and I don't have any solid opinions on it.
I don't like
I watched
Cars.
that.
Cars is
Um,
garbage. Just killed it right there. Just Cars is garbage. All right, everyone signed off.
All right,
even
listen,
even
Cars was
Craig left
my
the chat.
thing, man. When I was a kid, Cars was my thing.
Ours was mine as well. I could sing "Life as a Highway." I still play that song it's on my playlist.
And now here's a
The rest
super
flats
hot take.
version.
I like Cars too, a lot. I think Spy Mater is the dumbest, best thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how they even greenlit that movie to be a thing. It's like one of my guilty pleasures. I think Cars 2 is fantastic. Cars
I don't.
3 should have stopped at 2.
I agree. I don't like. I think Cars 1 is the best of the three. Um,
It is.
Everyone hated Cars 2. I did not. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It kept with the Pixar formula of focusing on the side characters in their sequel. Um, but Cars 3 again, I didn't see the requirement for like remodeling Lightning McQueen. Like, nah.
Best scene in Cars 2 is when Mater's in Japan and he sees wasabi and he thinks it's ice cream and he gets a whole scoop of it.
Mhm.
Fantastic. That's genius writing right there. None like it.
It's all shit.
I think a fun thing we could do on this would be our favorite movie from a franchise.
That's a good idea.
That's
Like
good.
maybe we could do Pixar, I guess, if we wanted to, then just like a subcategory if say one of the Toy Stories or the Two Incredibles or whatnot.
We should do Pixar next week. I'm down for that.
I would like that. I love Pixar. Um, yeah.
Do we want to focus on a single movie or do we each want to pick a movie out of all the Pixar movies?
I think we
Or we
should.
could just talk about it.
Yeah, I think we should pick like a top 5 and debate them.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. That's such an easy thing to talk about for hours too. I could talk
Oh,
about Pixar.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
also like it narrows things down because there's like a finite list.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure to do that right after I finish Blade Runner.
And we'll eventually talk about that.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
Do you have anything else? on your list?
I got a couple more probably.
for
I'm a big fan of Gladiator,
Also, one I've never seen.
which they're making a second one of now. Well, it's not in production right now, obviously, but is in the works currently. So I'm excited for that. And had another one. Oh, have you guys probably never even heard of it? But it's called The Raid.
I don't
It's
think I've ever seen it.
I think it's a Korean kung fu movie.
Yeah, I've definitely never seen it.
But it's it's
I
a
love
pretty
you guys.
it's a pretty simple plot mechanic. There's a group of cops that are trying to take down a drug lord, and the drug lord lives on like the 40th floor of like a rundown apartment complex. So they have to fight their way from the bottom to the top to get to the drug lord.
Interesting.
And all know like mixed martial arts and kung fu and weapons and guns and stuff. So it's literally just like 100 minutes of nonstop action, and it starts like minute 2 of the movie, and like that's the entire plot. But it's fantastic to watch.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's on Netflix.
it's got a good soundtrack too.
All right, I always go good for a good soundtrack.
It's all subtitled because it's obviously not an American movie, but you don't even have to read it to really know what's about to happen. There's a bad guy at the top, and there's the good guys at the bottom, and they have to figure out how to get to the top.
All right.
So, you know that in The Force Awakens, you know when what are those things called? The Rathtars or whatever? Remember when they're in the hallways?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Remember there's like the door that opens and there's like the two Asian guys like, Solo, we need you, or whatever. You need to pay.
Oh, Contra Club.
Yeah, Ganja Club. Those are the two main characters in the raid.
Okay.
Like they're the big martial artists in the raid movies. So
Okay.
a lot of fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I got plenty more, but those are like the go-to easy watches that if I need something to watch, I'll go to those.
Well, you had said something about how that movie had a good soundtrack, which I think I would throw Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on my list. I think that one, yeah, the soundtrack plays a part in that movie. Like, fathers and sons, like Cat Stevens, like it's it's about fathers and sons and Yondu and Peter, and then they make the analogy of through Looking Glass with Brandy, like they make analogies to the songs, and to me as an English major, that's beautiful for me, and it's a great movie.
I think the songs are what help make Guardians what it is.
Absolutely.
Like I think without those soundtracks, I don't think they would be as powerful or memorable as they are.
I think Mr. Blue Sky is my number one song on Spotify.
I've bought the first two soundtracks on Apple Music.
That's saying a lot to anyone listening because Colby is not a huge music guy.
No, I don't listen to music at all. And this was, I think, before Spotify was even a thing, or before it was big at least. I had bought the first two movie soundtracks because they were just so good. The third one had some good songs in it, but it wasn't not as good as the first two movies.
I agree. It does have some good ones, but I'd say Guardians 2 is my favorite of the trilogy,
Yeah, I agree.
music included.
I think it had the best music in Guardians 2, hands down. You got anything else, Steve, or was that the last one?
I mean, you can always throw Star Wars in there. Any kind of Star Wars movie, I'm happy to hang out in that world, in that universe. I'm trying to think. There's plenty, but I think those are my top ones for right now. Like you said, they're always evolving.
Yeah, mine are constantly interchangeable.
The last one that I had, I don't know if either of you have seen A Time to Kill.
Is that Sean Connery?
No, it was Matthew
Pierce
McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, and Samuel L. Jackson. It
I
was
thought A
based on
Time to Kill was a James Bond movie.
No, I think
it might be.
It might be.
The newest one is No Time to Die.
Yeah. They're all like a mix of similar words.
Yeah, so anyway, A Time to Kill is it was a book by John Grisham, who was an author who wrote a lot about lawyers and like law cases, and it's about this.
He was Runaway Jury, right?
Yes, he did. I think that was his biggest one.
Gotcha.
That and A Time to Kill, and it's about this black family and their daughter gets raped. And the dad goes and kills the guys, and it's about his court case, and it's just a really great movie. That was it. That was all I had there.
Crushing it.
Thank you.
I throw Training Day in there for me too. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Never seen that.
I
feel like I'm slacking. You're throwing out movies left and right, and I feel like I haven't seen any of them.
That's like a vintage Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke joint, you know?
I love Denzel.
Yeah, I think that's Antoine Fuqua is the director. He's like a really gritty director. I could be wrong there. I don't know. I'm not good with directors.
No.
I'm not super great either.
Yeah.
Unless it's like James Cameron, I'm like, I don't know who directed that.
Right.
If it was James Cameron, I don't know. I got nothing for you.
Well, it's only Avatar for the next 20 years, so we're good.
James Cameron or bust.
Scorsese. I can remember Scorsese.
Or Christopher Nolan.
Peter Jackson. Yeah, Anton Fuqua. I got it right.
Woohoo!
Nice, congrats.
Yeah.
Two things.
Colby, did you have any you wanted to share?
So kind of piggybacking off what both of you guys said. So I'm any day of the week I'm Star Wars. Any day of the week, even as bad as and garbage as the sequels are, if they're on, I'll watch them. Hell, if the animated movie's on, I'll watch that too. That one's pretty bad. But for like Marvel stuff, Infinity War is definitely top Marvel. But probably my favorite Marvel movie might be Civil War or Winter Soldier. I could watch those any day of the week.
I would put Winter Soldier over Civil War.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a big spy and espionage guy. So like Winter Soldier, that movie was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So those are pretty much interchangeable. And then on top of that, Mission Impossible, specifically Rogue Nation and Fallout. I could watch those two movies any day of the week. There's times where I'll be like, oh, I'm in a Mission Impossible mood. I'll just skip the rest of them and put just those two on back to back. One of my favorite animated movies is Stitch. That little dude is friggin' adorable. They don't do enough with him. They need to bring him back. I don't need a live action version. That sounds terrifying. Leave him animated, cute, and adorable. I could watch Lilo and Stitch almost like if I would watch it every night if I could. I have an addiction. I get it.
That's not no problem.
Step Brothers is a great classic comedy.
That is a good one.
I've watched that movie more times than I can count. It's the concept of that is so perfect. I can't believe it had never been done before. Two 40-year-old stepbrothers living at home with their parents. Like, it's just so funny. Yeah, almost every single time I watch that movie, I either notice something new or they like a line of dialogue that was in the background that I never noticed before. Or it's just like the way they deliver their lines is so perfect. It sounds like they actually are brothers fighting. Sounds like a bunch of 14-year-olds running around yelling at each other. One of my favorite franchises, but specifically the first three movies, Pirates of the Caribbean. I love those three movies. I feel like nobody ever talks about those movies, ever. I never see anybody make videos about them. I never see people talk about them at all on the internet. I feel like the last two were not, 4 and 5 were not super great. I get that. But the first three, it was like a perfect trilogy.
I've only seen the first two.
The third one picks up pretty much right after the second one, and it's the big finale. It's phenomenal. So if you've seen the first one, you can go back and watch it. Yeah, World's End.
My dad went through a phase when one of the newer ones, I don't know which one was coming out, 4 or 5, and he wanted to see it. We never saw it in theaters, but like he started watching, like he wanted us to watch them, and so that's why we watched the first couple.
They're really good. I think they're
I enjoyed them. I'd like to watch them again and be able to finish through the franchise, but
yeah, you should definitely at least watch the first 3 again. You should finish the third. The fourth one is okay. The fifth one really just takes a dive. I don't know why they're still making them. I think though that role is probably one of Johnny Depp's best roles. I think that obviously he had made a ton of movies before that, and he was a pretty big actor before that. But I think that role, like, that's what put him on the charts for me. I had seen him in other things, but I never really cared. Once I saw him in Pirates of the Caribbean, though, I was like, I'm a Depp fan. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Also,
Johnny Depp. Go ahead.
I was gonna say some of the CGI in those movies is better than the CGI we get in Marvel movies nowadays. Yeah. Davy Jones's CGI and all his crew, it's phenomenal. And then some of the stuff we're seeing like today, I know Disney Plus shows have a different type of budgeting, but still, it's unacceptable that those movies came out in 2006, in 2008, and it has way better CGI than stuff we're getting in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Which is shocking
Yeah.
because again, most of the time, early 2000s CGI is not great, but they dumped a ton of money into that, and it looks phenomenal.
All right. Did anyone else have any other talking points they wanted to cover?
You know what's funny? I was thinking of I was trying to come up with like I'm good with TUP or TUP, yeah, TUP.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the podcast, Andrew mentioned something like, "Oh, we haven't decided yet," or whatever. We might ramble and get off topic. There is actually a podcast called Off Topic. If that
Yes.
didn't exist, I would suggest that for our name. Because
You
that
could
is perfect name.
paraphrase that.
But there's a podcast called Off Topic, and I was like, oh, I wish that wasn't taken because
Mhm.
I would definitely swoop in and take that because that's so perfect.
You could say like back on track or something like that.
Back on track.
I gotta assume something like that's taken too.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
We should
I'll
be
have to fact check this.
the Untitled Podcasters ... Squirrel.
Squirrel.
There's a
Oh,
Beanbag
man.
Boys podcast.
There's what?
Beanbag Boys.
There is one?
Mm-hmm.
Of course there is.
Yeah, I looked it up because I thought that would. Even though it's like probably copyrighted from the movie, I was just curious because I thought that would be a really good name. Let me find it now. Beanbag Boys.
Well, we sure there's not an Untitled Podcasters podcast?
No.
That's true. I don't think anybody's fact checked that, but Craig says it's
Well,
okay. So okay.
Yeah. Let me check the Untitled Podcasters. That's because I misspelled podcasters. This Untitled Beatles podcast. Untitled Pittsburgh Sports Comedy podcast.
Yeah, I'm not worried about those guys.
Untitled Case. Untitled Movie Reviews. Untitled Gen X podcast. Untitled Female Driven podcast. Okay, yeah, so nothing came up for Untitled. Well, there's the Untitled podcast, but not Untitled Podcasters. So for now, we're okay.
Until we hit 3 subscribers, we're good.
I was gonna say, until we start to actually publish these, and then we end up competing with another Untitled Podcasters.
So, I guess real quick, right before we wrap this up,
Mhm.
as far as publishing them goes, should we create a separate YouTube channel, or do we want to post it on random I know there's some podcast apps. I don't listen to any of them, but how would we go about posting them?
I know how to post them on Spotify.
Okay.
Okay.
If we
That would be a good place to start.
Yeah, and I could make a YouTube channel. Like marketing is like one of my favorite things to do. I do it for the community theater I'm a part of. So I'd be more than happy to do that for this too.
Yeah, why don't you do that, and I'll do the posting it on Spotify.
Okay.
Cool. So I will be making a Gmail then.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, make it something so we can all access if we ever had to.
Mm-hmm.
Just do like tup@gmail.com. Nice and
if that's taken for any reason, just do tup1@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
All right.
That's totally not our email for our YouTube channel. If anybody listens to this,
Oh yeah.
that's not it. It's not really it. Totally different.
We don't know because I haven't made it yet. So best assume it's not.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we round this out?
I think we're heading in the right direction. I think we're doing well, other than the fact that we said we'd probably watch Blade Runner and see the creator and compare and contrast them.
Listen, we're like 40% on that promise.
I
Sure. Okay.
I haven't seen The Creator yet, and so far Colby's watched 20 minutes of. Maybe that'll be the running joke that every week we talk about how we haven't watched Blade Runner yet. It will just never actually all watch Blade Runner.
Or we could do 20-minute segments each. So Colby will finish the movie, and then I'll watch the first 20, and then Steve, you can round it out.
In 6 weeks, you guys might catch up to me.
Well, it's like, you know how Jimmy Kimmel did the bit where he was like, "Oh, we were gonna have Matt Damon on, but we ran out of time. Have a good night."
Yep.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
We could just do that. Oh, we're gonna talk about Blade Runner, but we just ran out of time. Good night.
And next week we will talk about the Blade Runner.
Listen, next week we got the Pixar thing. I think we can
Yep.
nail that. Top
Yeah,
5
well,
Pixar movies. That's all you got to do.
I will actually make a list. I'll look at the movies because it's not going to be easy.
Oh,
No, there's
absolutely not.
30
That
movies.
is a tough. Yeah.
And to I think that's why a top 5 is better than a top 10 because movies can sneak into a top 10. You have to really cut out some good Pixar movies to make a top 5.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so that's what we'll commit to. We'll commit to top 5 Pixar movies, and we'll compare and debate them.
All right.
And then Cars won't be on mine at all, and I can tell you how.
Well, you know what? Good Dinosaur ain't gonna be on mine.
Hey, it
Yeah.
might be on my. I have to look. There's a couple that I'm probably not thinking of that I'm like, oh crap, that's a fantastic Pixar
I
movie.
feel like I've seen every Pixar movie, but I'm not 1,000% sure. Like
No, with Disney Plus,
Red, I don't
they've.
think I've seen.
I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them all.
I just watched Elemental for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Not terrible.
Haven't
No, I
seen
thought
that
it was
one.
all right. I thought it was a very mid Pixar movie.
We do a top 5 and a worst 3.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
We don't need a worst 5. Just like the 3 that are just putrid.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
So top 5,
right.
worst 3.
Sounds good.
Oh, there's some
Wrote
good
it down,
ones.
but don't forget.
Like Up. I forgot about Up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm not even gonna look at it now because I'll keep myself up all night.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna end us off here for all okay.
Sounds
we're
good.
All right,
With the
great.
conclusion, or are you just gonna end off, Craig?
No, we can do a
Tune in
conclusion.
next week to listen to us talk about Blade Runner. All right.
That's right.
Later.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TUP.
Maybe.
Maybe.